Welcome to the Maine Department of Education Summer Food Service Program Meal Components Training. The purpose of this video is to provide information on the Summer Food Service Program meal components and the required components at each meal type. The Summer Food Service Program meal pattern helps sponsors plan and serve meals that are meeting child's nutritional needs, are appetizing to children, and are consistent with the updated dietary guidelines for Americans. The meal pattern varies in the number of meal components that must be offered for each meal type. Here are the 4 meal components identified in the Summer Food Service Program: milk, vegetables and/or fruit, grains and breads, meat alternates. I will go through each individually on the following slides. Milk must always be served in its fluid state at a minimum serving of 8 ounces. It may be flavored or unflavored, lactose-reduced or lactose-free, or shelf-stable. Reconstituted dry milk is not allowed. Sponsors are encouraged to include a variety of vegetables and fruits at your meal sites. Throughout a week, try different forms including raw, cooked, fresh, frozen, canned in juice or light syrup, or dried fruit and vegetables. When serving lunch and supper meals, use a different combination of 2 or more kinds of vegetables and/or fruits. It is important to serve a variety so that children have access to many of the nutrients that they need. This is why you cannot serve 2 forms of the same vegetable or fruit in the same meal. An example would be serving an orange with orange juice. Fruit punches, aids, or drinks made with fruit-flavored powders or syrups do not meet program requirements. Canned fruit includes the serving of fruit and the juice that it is packed in. The juice from canned fruits cannot be used or count as fruit juice. Some additional guidelines to remember. Serving 100% juice increases the nutrients children are exposed to. Up to 1/2 of the total requirements of fruits and vegetables may be met with a fruit or vegetable juice. For public health reasons, we highly encourage limiting juice to breakfast and serving fresh, frozen, or canned fruit at lunch and snack. And when milk is the only other component, juice may not be served. This generally will apply to the Summer Food Service Program snacks. Here is a list of different types of grain and bread products that can be used as a Summer Food Service Program meal component. This includes common grains such as bread, rice, pasta, and cereal, as well as less common grains such as barley and quinoa. Be sure to read the labels on commercial products to guide you as you make decisions. Whether you are purchasing or making from scratch, your grains and breads must be made from whole grain or enriched flours or meal. When serving cereal, make sure it is either whole grain, enriched, or fortified. Please see the video on crediting grains for more information. Pie crust is allowed as a grain bread item when it is used as part of a main dish. One example would be serving chicken pot pie. Pie crust does not count as a grain bread item when it is part of a dessert. When non-sweet snack products and sweet food products are made with whole grain or enriched flour or meal, they can be used to meet the grain bread meal component. This guide is to remind you to read all labels on your grain, flour, and bread products. Bran and germ are credited the same as whole grain or enriched flour or meal products. When reading the label, look for the first ingredient to have the word whole. For example, whole wheat flour. Enriched grain flour or bread products use refined grains that have been enriched. Choose MyPlate.gov has more information on how to read ingredient label statements. Please refer to the link provided below. As for the meat alternate component, you may use lean meat, poultry, or fish. When using dried beans, legumes, and peas, they can count as either a vegetable meal component or a meat alternate meal component, but may not be counted as both in the same meal. Common cheeses used include Swiss, mozzarella, cottage cheese, American, and cheddar. Nuts, seeds, nut butter, eggs, and yogurt may also count towards a meat alternate meal component. When serving meat alternate meal components, keep in mind that one serving must consist of an edible portion of cooked lean meat, fish, or poultry. The weight of bones, water, and other fillers cannot contribute to an edible portion. For example, 2.44 ounces of ham with water added counts as 2 ounces. Refer to the Food Buying Guide book and video for assistance with this guideline. Keep in mind, commercially prepared yogurt can be considered a meat alternate meal component. Homemade yogurts, frozen yogurt, and yogurt-flavored snacks do not meet the requirements. When offering nuts and seeds, remember that they may fulfill the meat alternate component at snacks, but at lunch and supper meals, they can only meet up to 1/2 of the required portion and therefore must be paired with another meat alternate item. Please note that condiments do not count towards the fruit and/or vegetable meal components. They are considered other foods. Now I will provide a brief outline of the meal pattern. For more detailed information on individual meal patterns, view the meal pattern videos after this introduction. The breakfast meal pattern must contain 3 out of the 4 components. Milk, grains, and a vegetable and/or fruit are required to be offered at breakfast. The meat alternate component is optional. The meal pattern for lunch and supper must contain 5 items from the 4 components. Keep in mind that meat alternate components must be served at lunch and supper, and 2 kinds of vegetables and/or fruits must be offered. This will give you the 5 items needed. Snacks must contain 2 different items from the 4 components. Fruit juice and milk cannot be offered in the same snack. When planning your menus, use a variety of items from each of the Summer Food Service Program meal components. Refer to your Summer Food Service Program Nutrition Guidance for Sponsors Handbook for a complete explanation and menu examples. This handbook can be found on the USDA website, or you can refer to the link provided below. Thank you for taking the time to view this training on the Summer Food Service Program meal components.